And welcome back, everyone, to Who Would Win 37. Speed round, I should say. Who would win speed round 37? First of the year, first speed round of the year, which is interesting because technically speaking, usually the first speed round comes at the end of the month, but I extended the who would win all the way to the end of the month, to the beginning of the month. So technically speaking, here we are. So you'll actually get 2 speed rounds in January. Yeah. Either way, though, let's get this started. From Irish Tom, we have the question of who wins in a fight, Doc Ock versus Tiki Toby. This is not the last time Tiki Toby is actually showing up in this speed round this week, and this is not the last time a creepypasta character is showing up in the speed round. Here's the infinite problem with the creepypasta characters, that except for Slenderman, Zalgo, and the actual true supernatural based ones like Ben Drown, which is a ghost, these guys are not supernatural unless you're going to like some weird deep lore story where that one time they were like the proxy for Slenderman or something like that. They're not. They're just serial killers. Some of them have like, I think he's the one with the pain sensitivity or something like that. Either way, it's Doc Ock can just grab him, yoink him, all that. Like there's no real threat to Doc Ock from someone like Tiki Toby. He deals with individuals on a regular basis far more dangerous, like all Spider-Man's rogues who he has fought on some occasion. Spider-Man himself, he's far more intelligent, and again, his arms give him far more of an advantage over Tiki Toby than anything Toby has. The Cranefly asked the question, who wins in a fight? Morrow, the Master of Wind, versus Lucy. And Morrow being a ghost means that Lucy has no actual way of touching Morrow. Therefore, Morrow wins. Like, there's not much of an argument with that, I suppose. If Morrow had a physical body, you could have more of an argument, and it would actually be legit who would win. I also will, as always, say that I'm not a big Ninjago fan. So if anything I say is just not correct to you, it's probably because, honestly, maybe I'm missing something. I've done research before on Ninjago characters. It's not like I'm completely in the dark on it. It's just, regardless, Morrow would still probably win. He's a ghost, so Lucy, as far as I know, doesn't have any way to interact with spirits. Then, coming to us from Horrible Drawer, we have the question of who wins in a fight? Slifer, the Sky Dragon, versus Mega Rayquaza. Slightly more interesting when you think about it. Rayquaza is definitely more aggressive of the two. And admittedly, as a card, Slifer, needs cards in hand to have attack points. But even still, one card in hand makes Slifer the Sky Dragon have 1,000 attack and defense, which means it has far more power than any single Mega card, Pokemon card ever. If we go into lore, well, Slifer doesn't actually need the cards in lore when you've actually manifest him to actually have his power. And on sheer size, he dwarfs Rayquaza. Rayquaza is like around 20-ish feet long. Rayquaza is big. Don't get me wrong. Rayquaza is large. But Slifer literally wraps around an entire blimp multiple times over. It still has plenty of room to be huge. Slifer also has, just more in the way of, like, a power, too. Slifer is 1/3 of Hecate, which is basically a being that created the entire Yu-Gi-Oh! Multiverse in lore, which means you have 1/3 of a multiversal being. So, power-wise, yeah, roughly. The Winged Dragon Raw is technically stronger than either Obelisk or Slifer. But still, it's roughly speaking 1/3, maybe a quarter, something like that. In fact, that's probably a better way to look at it, because the Winged Dragon Raw is allegedly stronger than both Raw and Slifer and Obelisk combined. That Raw is probably about 50% of it, that power, and Obelisk and Slifer are roughly 25. Roughly. Maybe you could say that Slifer's 30 and Obelisk is, 20, but Obelisk also can theoretically hit with the power of infinity in the lore, all that. Either way, Slifer would win that fight. I feel pretty confident on that. Now, here comes an interesting one from LA, who asked the question, who wins in a fight? The Mask versus Pennywise. Pennywise has been coming up a lot lately. Obviously, I just did that Doctor Who story with him and the Doctor facing each other. But the question simply comes down to this. Could whoever's wearing the mask at the time, be it Ipkiss, whoever, could he survive the deadlights? Because that would really be the ultimate question here because, frankly, Pennywise has no way of taking the mask down. The mask is, again, a reality warper, Toon Force user, like on a level that even Pennywise can't really comprehend. Like the level of shit the mask can do is kind of makes Pennywise look a little meek by comparison when you really break it down. But the deadlights are the question, and I'd have to say that as long as the mask is on, the answer would be no. Like, yeah, maybe be like going like, say cheese, ha! What? What's going on? Because the mask is kind of chaos incarnate, and and it is a sentient being, a will of its own. Like, it is. Its level of like comprehension where it comes from is still not to date known. I mean, in the movies, it's like Loki, who would probably resist the deadlights as well. And the reason I say all this is because the deadlights work basically like Eldritch Horror. They can drive people insane. They can just kill them. They literally, it's because our brains can't comprehend what we're looking into the deadlights. But with beings that are just used to things that are supernatural, super powerful, all that, it is one of those scenarios where it's like, okay, yeah, even normal human, even someone like a specialized human like Captain America, Batman, Spider-Man, they deal with things way out of the ordinary all the time, even on a cosmic level. So they probably would not be affected by deadlights in the same way a normal person would. The mask kind of functions the same way. It's just because it has a will of its own and kind of enforces that will a little bit onto the wearer. It's just Pennywise. I don't think we'll be able to stop the mask in the same conventional way, and therefore the mask ultimately would win that fight. Then coming to us from, is it Perfect? Perfect. Was it Perfect Cell or just Perfect? I can't remember. But you asked the question, who wins in a fight? Ichigo Kurosaki or Yusuke Urameshi? This comes down to a scaling issue, really. Yusuke technically has more abilities under his belt, technically, because he's got Spirit Gun, Shotgun, Spirit Wave. You know, actually, I might have to take that back. Ichigo has Zangetsu. So he already carries a weapon, which gives him an edge. He already moves at light speeds anyway. He scales all the way up to somewhere in the neighborhood of Yoba. He wasn't actually, as far as you can tell, he wasn't quite as strong as Yoba, but he was a threat to Yoba. Even with the Soul King absorbed. So, yeah, it's one of those things where scaling-wise, Yusuke at best scales to like a planetary level. That's about it. Ichigo literally scales to individuals who hold the fabric of 3 different realities together just by existing. So, yeah, Ichigo would take that win without too much difficulty. Then coming to us from Slim Shady, will you please stand up? Which Dracula wins, Marvel Dracula or Castlevania Dracula? And that's a tale of 2 Draculas. If we're going by the show, the cartoon animation Dracula from Castlevania, it's got to be Marvel's Dracula. He actually just has better feats. He's far stronger in magic than Dracula is. They both have the same weaknesses, yes, but that Marvel Dracula is dealing with far more supernatural and superhuman individuals. But if we're going by the games Dracula, there's a lot more going on there, and he scales just quite frankly higher than the actual show Dracula does. He does scale to more of a closer to like a galactic universal level individual based on where he draws his power from. And Marvel Dracula just doesn't. Hell, doing like town level feat or city level feats tire him out. So I would say that if it's the games Castlevania Dracula, then it's Dracula. That Castlevania's Dracula. But if it's the show version of Castlevania's Dracula, then it's Marvel's Dracula who wins that. Then coming to us again from someone else, Chidoriz? We got Kenpachi Zaraki versus Tiki Tobi. This comes down to a straight up scaling problem. Like Bleach, unless you're going with like Zalgo and some interpretations of Slender Man, there's really not a lot who scale to even the mid-tailers of Bleach. And Tiki Tobi is just a person. Again, I think he's the one with pain sensitivity with Cephas. Zaraki would just be like, boring. Moving on. Like that's it. Like there's not much to really write home about on that fight. Then coming to us from, who was it? Seriously, who was this? Something Diaz? I'm gonna go with C Diaz. Who asked the question? Who wins in a fight? Ghost Rider versus Esdeath. Look, Esdeath's ice powers, base powers are strong. She can freeze time itself. The Ghost Rider, she just doesn't have a means of putting down, and he doesn't even just use regular fire. He uses Hellfire. Her soul's exposed. And even if he's just deciding to use regular fire for a little while, it's going to melt her ice. Her ice is not infallible either. Not to mention the penance stare. My God, the amount of effect that would have on her. So yeah, Ghost Rider takes that fight easy. Coming to us then from the Reaper of the Hit and Miss, 69. We have the question of who wins in a fight. The Hulk versus Eren Yeager. Eren being like a Titan, you'd think might have a chance. He's even able to, I believe, turn people into salt, like some sort of biblical reference, if I remember correctly. But the Hulk can only survive things like disintegration. You'd have to literally erase his existence, or somehow separate his connection to the Green Room, or the Green Door, to hell, basically. You'd have to be able to basically cut off his ability to use the Red Door or Green Door or whatever. Or you'd have to literally erase him down to like atom, like nothing. I mean, nothing left, soul, everything gone. So basically, you'd have to pull a Beerus, is what you'd have to do. Hakai him out of existence. Eren doesn't have that ability. He's just not strong enough to do that. Then, coming to us from Shadows82, the obvious answer to this is, who wins in a fight, Saitama or All Might? I think we can all agree that it's the guy who literally, in a punch clash with another villain, wiped out not half the planet, not half the solar system, a giant swath of stars from galaxies away. It's gonna be Saitama, bar none. It's gonna be Saitama. Then coming to us from Irish Tom again. This one is a different Irish Tom. Hold on. It was Irish Moro something or other. Sorry, Irish Moro. We have the question of who wins in a fight. Jeff the Killer versus Bilbo. I know I did Bilbo versus someone before. I believe it was either Laughing Jack or Tiki Toby. I believe that's who I did the versus with Bilbo a long time ago. And I'm going to tell you right now, this fight would probably go the same way that fight would. That where Bilbo is being attacked, being injured, ultimately puts on the ring, and ultimately stabs and kills with Sting the individual he's facing. At least in this case. If it were someone like Michael Myers or something like that, Bilbo just runs. Like, it's just stabbing Michael, or God forbid Jason, isn't going to do a goddamn thing. So, on that front, it would be Bilbo. On that basis alone, I feel it wouldn't be much different than the last creepypasta fight I did. Let's see, Bilbo. Who was that one against? Anyway, Bilbo Baggins is only 4 feet tall. It was Tiki Toby. That's who he fought. Bilbo Baggins, bravest little hobbit of them all. In a veiled place that we all admire. In a quaint little place that we call the Shire, there's a friendly little hobbit that we all admire. Then another creepypasta. It's creepypasta day. Eyeless Jack versus Michael Myers from Izadi A. Again, look, Michael is just kind of could just take damage and keep going. I'm not saying Eyeless Jack can't either. Michael just has better feats that aren't fan-made. That is the problem with the fan-made community type of stuff. This is why that Suggs Fest those characters, I'm not using those characters. They just scale beyond anything because they're designed to do that. Like, that's not fun for a video. But yeah, I'd probably lean towards Michael on this. Not to say that maybe Eyeless Jack doesn't take a win. It's just Michael's got more solid feats, in my opinion. Then from J.O. Nope, not J.O. Sorry. Oh, no, sorry. This was from, I apologize. This one was actually from Shahin B. I apologize, Shahin. You're the one who gave me this. Izadi A gave me who would win a fight, Dormammu or Goku. This, unfortunately, I got the Goku versus Sonic the Hedgehog video coming out earlier. This is just a problem of scaling and hacks. Goku can, I think, scale he doesn't scale as high as Dormammu. I should say, I'm just going to get that out of the way. He doesn't scale, but he's not like that far separated from Dormammu, I would say. But the problem just is Dormammu is a straight magic user who could just, because he does scale higher than Goku, he's just going to completely and utterly like annihilate Goku with spells and mysticism that Goku just has no direct ability to counter. You know, real quick, a friend and I have an ongoing discussion that I'll be honest, I'm a little tired of. Because at some point I think we're done with the discussion. And then she keeps adding on to the discussion. I'm like, right now she hasn't replied to my last reply. But it's like a conversation about who wins in a fight. Sailor Moon versus Goku. I side on the Goku side of things. She sides on the Sailor Moon side of things. The problem for me with this whole Sailor Moon argument is simply that from everything I know about Sailor Moon, and maybe I'm totally wrong on this, the Dragon Ball universe just scales higher. And I don't mean that as an like trying to wank Goku. I mean the universe itself. A single universe, Universe 7, is about 1,000 rough times larger than ours, give or take. And the Sailor Moon universe is roughly speaking the same universe ours is in. Like there's not really any extra planets, or it's not much larger in terms of its feet. Like there's been no statements to say that it is larger, whereas there are actual cosmological like maps of the Dragon Ball universe and how large it is in comparison to our universe. And our universe is just minuscule in comparison in size. Like that's the thing. We assume when we talk about a universal character that every single universe is the same size, and that's not the case. So like that's one of the reasons where I'm like, yeah, look, Sailor Moon has the hacks advantage, yes, but it's irrelevant if Goku just straight out outscales her, and then he can just neg most of those abilities. That's kind of a similar scenario here. If the gap I don't think is as large as it is with Goku and Sailor Moon, and I'm gonna get someone saying this, you don't know Sailor Moon. It's the price of doing videos about versus scenarios. But yeah, Dormammu I do think would just whoop Goku's ass. Honestly, Goku might be able to get a few strikes in, and Dormammu be impressed. But magic! Oop, there's your energy. I just zapped all your energy gone. You got nothing left. I was like, I'm gonna go further beyond. My God, he surpassed his limit somehow. Your energy's gone. What? Like, yeah. And you know what? I'm gonna mind control you, make you my slave. That would be Dormammu. Yeah. Anyway, and so there you go. And then coming us from J.O., you asked the question, who wins in a fight, the Flash or Mr. Fantastic? Look, Mr. Fantastic is highly durable, but the Flash with the Speed Force and literally striking with the power of a white dwarf star with a mass infinite punch would literally just annihilate him straight out. Or he just goes back in time and just stops the accident from ever happening, or he just erases his existence if he wants, or he later takes him to the future, or if he wants to get like reverse Flash levels cruel, he just grinds him into the dust, throws him into volcanoes, does something. Like the Flash, Mr. Fantastic has no means of stopping the Flash. He'd have to invent something to stop the Flash. And that's not how this fight would work. Then we got from Sosuke Aizen, who wins in a fight. There we go. Who wins in a fight? Kingpin versus Two-Face, very simple. And like crime, Kingpin is literally called the Kingpin for a reason. He is a mastermind, the guy who has controlled numerous national and international crime operations. He is a master businessman, strategist, all that. Not to mention he could trade blows with Spider-Man. He's not truly superhuman in terms of actually having superhuman powers, but he's so built that it does come off like that. Harvey's, for all of his intelligence, is just a lawyer turned gangster. It's not the same thing. Then coming to us from Mind Tool 12, we have who wins in a fight, the Gotei 13 versus Phantom Troop from Hunter x Hunter. This is again, even the weakest Gotei 13 member here, if we're looking at just like the captains, who I think at this point in time, if we're just looking at that image, the weakest captain on here, no joke, is either Komamura or Kensei, probably. I would lean more. I'd lean more towards Kensei because at least Komamura can summon a giant that would wipe the floor. Even still, he moves. He has Shumpo, which is light speed. He is a master-handed combatant. Tachikaze and Shikai alone makes air explode, and then he can literally just blow people up with his Bankai. Like, That's the weakest member of that. I could go even further and say even the most of the lieutenants would have little trouble with these guys. Even if they go with the theoretical weakest version of the Gotei 13, almost all those versions have Shinji in them, which means he can just go, hey, you guys want to get a coffee or something? I'll take care of this. Cool. This guy's going to take us all himself. Bankai, was it Yokoshima, Hapashima? No, Yokoshima, I always, Yokoshima, Fukushima, Hapafusagari? What's Shinji's Bankai? Hold on. I always blank on this one's name. Shinji Hirako Bankai. What was it? Let's see here. Shikai. Okay. It's going to give me the name of this. Yeah. Sakashima Yokoshima Hapafusagari. So basically, he's going to turn their perception of enemy and friend on each other and cause them to attack. And it literally forces you to attack too. Any version of the Gotei 13 with Shinji in it is an automatic win, like against a group of opponents, because that's his Bankai's tailored for that. Even if we take a version without Shinji in it, that means you got the only version I can think of would be the original, which is said to be the most dangerous version of the Gotei 13 known, but we have very little to go off of, except for the fact that they overwhelmed the Quincy's, which is impressive on its own. Or we go with the Soul Society Gotei 13 without Aizen, Gin, or Kaname Tozen because they are less. So that would be your weakest alleged version then. And even then, you still have Kenpachi, you still have Mayuri, who would just figure out everything going on here and devise a counter. You have Soifone, who literally is, again, moving light speed with Suzume Bachi, just tap, 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 tap. Or if they want to just throw your big gun out there, Yamamoto incinerates them all. Like, this is not even a contest. Now, if you're going to say scale them up to the Gotei 13, well, that's impossible because how do I scale? Who do I scale then? That's who do I scale to who? Like that doesn't, you can't do it that way. So yeah, Gotei wins hands down. Finally, from Ghost Reaper DH47, who was in a fight, Juggernaut or Bane? Look, I like Bane. Bane's a cool guy. You should listen to your friend Bane. He's a cool dude. Bane is getting clapped by a Juggernaut. Like, his cheeks are literally going to be clapping because of what Juggernaut's going to do to that booty. Like, he's going to have a lot of room to be clapping after that. Like, it's not even close. One guy struggles with heavier hitters in in DC, while the other guy can trade blows with the goddamn Hulk and Thor. Like, that's not even a question. Now, I will say, Bane is the smarter of the two. I will say that, definitely. And he's even the more skilled actual hand-to-hand fighter. But that means nothing when this guy can literally flick a finger and destroy a building, whereas Bane would probably take a lot of effort to do that. And to destroy an actual building on his own. He could probably do it, but it would take effort, whereas Juggernaut's just like, boom. And also, nothing on Earth can stop the Juggernaut. Once he starts going, you need equal force to stop him. And Bane don't have that. So, yeah, no, Bane loses that hard and fast. Juggernaut's going to be making sweet love to his tender Bane hole. That's what he's going to be doing. And there's nothing Bane can do to stop him. Is it you're shaking, Bane? No, my sweet innocence. Like, I would love to see Bane make a cameo in Harley Quinn. Juggernaut make a cameo on the Harley Quinn show and just bitch smack and make Bane his sweet, sweet lover for this. No, I am feeling things I've never felt before. Oh, Juggernaut, don't leave me. You've opened my eyes. No, he just used me. What's wrong? He just used me for sex. Oh, I feel so dirty. Yeah, you should probably take a shower. That's a good point. It's weird. Because of the jokes they made about Tom Hardy's Bane voice, that is what they went with Harley Quinn. And that is like a version of Bane I could do almost a spot-on impression of. It's insane. It's like, she's got HPV, right? Sort of most sexually active adults. I broke the bat. Anyway, I digress. So there's your Speed Round 37. Join us at the end of the month for Speed Round 38. Until then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.